Chapter 17 Potado. The Bonner Farm, an early morning in late June, 1758. As warm beams cast themselves through the playfully swaying branches of an old oak, a warbler cools himself under its glorious canopy, casting its song over the landscape. Below, William stands listening, head up with his eyes closed and arms hanging down at his sides. On a warm breeze, exhalations of milkweed gently engulf him as he breathes in slow and deep. Releasing the sweet air, he opens his eyes and follows the majestic old oak from its skyward branches down to its mighty roots where his two friends rest. "Morning, gents. Now, I ken what you're thinking, and I'm sorry. It has been a while. So, me apologies to you both." Straightening himself, he soaks in another offering of milkweed as it washes over him, and a warm smile crosses his face. Then he chuckles, thinking about how they'd respond. Returning his eyes to the oak's majestic canopy, "So, when last we spoke, I were telling you about the great Tofty adventure. Yeah, and how the Shepler's wagon tipped over and tossed him out like a couple of unwanted fish. Well, you'll be happy to hear John has long since recovered, and—" He pauses for a moment, chuckling at his next thought. "Our old friend Jeffrey finally finished the repairs on Henry's damaged wagon. Of course, it took a while, but Henry were a good sport about it. Considering old Jeffrey ain't the spring chicken he once were. Hell, any of us once were. Anyway, although it were a challenging endeavor, I believe it's proven to be a worthy one. The totties took to growing just like I ken they would. And you should have seen it, lads. Beautiful, plush, green, hardy plants covering me fields for as far as the eye could see. Believe me when I say, it were truly a sight to behold. 60 glorious acres. And if I'm really being honest, not since Tatooine's garden had me eyes feasted on such a magnificent display. You would have loved it. Anyway, it took us the better part of 2 weeks, but the boys and I finally got it all harvested. That's why I'm here today, to deliver some of those beauties to your wives." He pauses again, chuckling. "I reckon it's a good thing we dug out that root cellar, baby, 'cause it's full now. Yeah, they'll be eating totties well into next year. That I can tell you. The Sheplers, too. In fact, John's wife Magdalene says she's going to teach Mary how to make some traditional German dishes so we don't get tired of eating them. Which is good, I guess, if for no other reason than we've been spending more time together and getting closer since returning home. It's funny how overcoming adversity together brings folks closer. But who am I telling? Hell, that's what brought us closer. Us, Tatooine, and Ski-Gooncha, too. Yeah, and I'm glad of it. And I cannot only speak for myself, but I wouldn't change a thing, lads. Not a single thing." Just then, a voice calls to him from behind. "William, is that you?" Glancing over his shoulder, he spots Flora calling in the distance. He waves at her, then turns back to the old oak. "Well, lads, it's all for now. Flora's calling, and that means it's time to go. She must have spotted those totties in the root cellar. Anyways, farewell for now, lads, until next time." She is shading her eyes with her hand as he makes his way across the yard to her. "Hey, stranger." "Hello, sis." "I saw the totties. It's a good thing you and Dad dug out that root cellar when you did." William laughs. "I were just thinking that." "You ken I cannot thank you enough, William. You're too good to us." "Oh, we're family. You'd do the same for me." Still shading her eyes, she smiles warmly. I would indeed. Can I tuck you into some tea? I've a fresh pot." He gives her a hug, then climbs into his wagon. "Thanks, but I really should be getting back. Lots of totties to deliver. But do me a kindness and Send your ma and Jeremiah my love. I will. 'Tis good seeing you, William. Dinna be a stranger. 'Tis good seeing you as well. Don't worry. I'll see you again soon, he says, pulling away. Downtown Winchester, mid-afternoon, Friday, June 30th, 1758. Like their father, the eldest Albin brothers, 18-year-old John and 13-year-old Robert, are out delivering 60-pound sacks of potatoes to their local clientele of merchants, taverns, and inns. Clad in buckskins and coonskin caps, with knives and hatchets tucked under their belts, the brothers ride from shop to shop making their deliveries. With their Conestoga nearly empty, John pulls up to O'Callahan's general store to deliver their last 3 sacks. All right, let's get this done. And with that, he and Robert jump from the wagon and proceed to carry the first 2 sacks into the store, carrying them into the back storeroom per Mr. O'Callahan's request. As they exit the storeroom, they notice 3 regimental soldiers milling about inside the store. Without thinking much of it, they exit the store to retrieve the 3rd and final sack. John climbs into the back of the wagon and drags the last sack to the back of the bed, heaving it onto his younger brother's shoulders. Robert heaves the massive sack upward a few times, adjusting its weight on his shoulders before proceeding. With the sack well in hand, he walks through the front door. As he does, he feels something on his left side where his view is obstructed by the sack. A split second later, he finds himself on the ground, the sack of potatoes crashing to the ground with him and spilling about. Before he can get to his feet, he is grabbed by the collar of his buckskin shirt and thrust against the open door which had swung outward against the outside wall. He is pinned, a forearm pressing against his neck. The culprit, one of the soldiers he had seen inside. With his fellow soldiers standing nearby laughing, he angrily barks in Robert's face. What the hell's the matter with you, boy? Apologies, sir. I couldn't see you. Pressing harder against the youngster's throat. Couldn't see me? Are you fucking blind? Just then, a knife slams into the door to the right of Robert's head, the tip buried cleanly into the wooden door, with drops of blood slowly rolling down. In a whirlwind, the soldier releases Robert, grabbing at his left ear. As he pulls his hand away, he sees it is bleeding. What the angry, now wounded soldier did not see, however, is young Robert's knife pressed against his belly. He spins around to find John standing near the back of the wagon. His right arm cocked with a hatchet in his hand, he stares the soldier down, declaring, Next time I'll take it off. Why, you! The angry soldier growls. A second soldier lifts his barrel, bringing the teen into his sights and pulling the trigger. As the chamber explodes, his barrel is shoved into the air by the 3rd soldier, his round firing harmlessly skyward. Yanking the musket from his trigger-happy companion, he shouts, Are you out your bloody mind, soldier? The weaponless soldier snaps to attention. No, sergeant! Smoke still furling from the barrel in his hand, the sergeant turns to his other subordinate. And you! What the hell's the matter with you? Can he not see he's just a boy? The angry soldier straightens himself. But sergeant! The sergeant raises a hand. Don't say it! I'll no be hearing it. Have you any bloody clue who these lads are? Or who you're bloody dealing with here? Dumbfounded, he glances at the brothers, then back at the sergeant, shaking his head wide-eyed. Damned right you dinna! He shakes his head at the 2 privates. You ken, I likely just saved your miserable fucking lives, you sorry sacks of shite. Private! Attention! About! Hey! The bloodied private drops his hand from his ear and executes an about face. His sergeant barks. Now look down! When he does, he spies Robert's knife still pointing at his belly. The sergeant barks. That's right, soldier! That knife were 2 seconds away from gutting you like a catfish. The private looks up to find Robert staring him down with a confident half-smile as he sheathes his blade. The bloody private spins around, stammering, But The sergeant quickly jabs a finger in his face. Don't! The private's shoulders drop. Let that be a lesson to you, Private. Never underestimate your opponent. The soldier stares at him blankly. Then the sergeant glares at both privates. And have you any clue who their da is? They shake their heads. Aye, I didn't think so. Answer me this. Might the name Aqua strike a chord? The privates exchange a glance and shrug. Nay, how about this one? William Bruce Alban. The wounded soldier ignorantly shrugs, but his weaponless peer straightens, and his eyes grow wide. William Bruce? The William Bruce? His ignorant partner gives him a double take. Aye, soldier. William bloody Bruce. And if you'd hurt so much as a hair on either of his sons' heads, he'd have hunted you down and skinned you alive, and there's nary a bloody fucking thing any of us could do about it. Trust me, if he ain't afraid of no bear, he's sure as shite no afraid of the likes of you two. Sweat now pouring from their foreheads, the two privates gaze back at him in shock and disbelief. The sergeant points a finger in the face of the bloodied private. And you stupid shite, the only reason you're still standing is because that knife to your ear was just a warning. Do you ken that, Private? The junior soldiers remained at attention, lips clamped shut. Aye, that's what I thought. Now, get your sorry arses back to the fort. I'll deal with you later. Dismissed. Snapping to attention, they bark, Yes, Sergeant! Then they execute an about-face and double-time it back to Fort Loudon. Robert remained standing with his back to the shop door, his brother's knife still sticking out of it to his right. As the two soldiers hightail it out of there, the sergeant reaches forward and pulls the knife from the door. Me apologies, lad. Then he turns to the older Alban. I believe this belongs to you. John slides the hatchet under his belt and takes the beautiful, albeit bloodied blade from the sergeant and quickly sheathes it. Thanks. I must say, you're pretty handy with that blade. Your da teach ya? John throws him a half smile. Nay, Sinawa. Sinawa. Aye, a Shawnee warrior named Sinawa. The sergeant raises a brow. No shite? John nods. No shite. He reaches out to shake the sergeant's hand. Thank you, Sergeant. Bloody hell, I should be thanking you. Me? He laughs. Aye, for no carving me privates into mincemeat. You saved me from a mountain of paperwork. John nods and grins. I'm curious. How'd you kid about me da? He laughs. I'm friends with your Uncle George. I've seen you at the mill with your da a time or two. But trust me, I'm no the only one be knowing about your da. John looks at him with a raised brow. Let's just say, many ken he's a good man, but they also ken he's no a man to be trifled with. John nods. Face it, lad, you dinna get the reputation for being the best hunter in the valley and a friend to the Shawnee by accident. It's just, those two fools are new around here, and dinna ken their arses from a gopher hole. The brothers laugh. By the way, I'm Sergeant Johnson. I'm John, and this is my brother Robert. The sergeant shakes their hands. Pleasure to meet you, lads. Listen, if there's ever anything I can do for you, you can find me at Fort Loudon. Just ask for Sergeant Johnson. Placing a hand on John's shoulder, he asks, And, because I'm curious, how old are you? 18. Are you now? Well, have you considered joining our ranks? The regiment could use a man like you. John laughs. Thanks, Sergeant, but I've plenty to keep me busy already. But hey, if any bears come round looking for trouble, I'll be there. Count on it. The sergeant's right brow raises. Bears? Interjecting, Robert adds. Aye, that's what our doc calls bad men. Bears, bad guys, enemies, potato. The sergeant chuckles. Bears, I'll have to remember that. All right then, lads. I've a couple of idiots I need to deal with, so I've to be getting back. Oh, and say hello to your uncle for me." "Will do, Sergeant," the boys shout as they watch him march down the street. Shaking his head as he walks away, the sergeant mumbles, "Potato, potato." Just then, Mr. O'Callahan pops his head out the shop door. "You lads okay?" John turns to him. "Aye, we're fine. Sorry for the disruption, Mr. O'Callahan." "Aye, sorry, Mr. O'Callahan," adds Robert. "No to worry, lads. I'm just glad you're okay. Those two were just looking for trouble. What happened were no your fault in the least." He shakes his head, chuckling. "Although, I'll bet they're wishing they'd no crossed you." Pointing to the knife hole in the door. "And John, that's one hell of a way to get a man's attention." John's shoulders drop. "I'm sorry for the damage. I just needed to be sure he heard me." Mr. O'Callahan laughs. "Oh, he heard you all right. Loud and clear, I'm guessing. And don't worry about the damage. I'm keeping it just like that, so I can share the story with me customers." The brothers chuckle and nod. "Here, let me help you pick up these totties and we'll get 'em inside." With that, they pick up the spilled potatoes, placing them back in the sack. John ties off the sack and lifts it onto his shoulders. "I'll carry 'em into the storeroom for you." Mr. O'Callahan pats his arm. "Thank you, lad." West of Winchester, the road to Albin Village. Later that afternoon, Friday, June 30th, 1758. Robert mushes the mules and turns to his brother. "Can you believe those guys?" "You mean those pricks?" "Aye, the both of 'em. I'm no going to lie, I were scared. I mean, they are soldiers after all." "Aye, but we've dealt with soldiers before." "True, but these were our soldiers." "Indeed. And the lesson we learned today is, it doesn't matter what uniform they're wearing. Soldiers are no different than other folks. There's good ones and there's bad ones. And that Sergeant Johnson's a good one, to be sure." Robert nods. "Aye, just like that Colonel Washington fellow Daw's always talking about." "Exactly. And like Daw always says, the world," in unison they shout, "is full of bears."